All right, everybody, we're on lesson number 4, page 523. We're going to start solving trig equations. Now, you've done a bit of this in 10 and 11, but because we know a bit more now, you're going to see that you can get multiple answers. So the first thing we need to do is a quick review of how to find an angle when you're given the ratio. So we're going to solve things like this. Sine theta is equal to 0.5. Remember, theta is always your angle, and this is the ratio. In this case, it would be opposite over hypotenuse. But they're saying, how do you find theta? Well, if you remember, on your calculator, you're going to use the sine to the -1 button. And when you do that, you should get 30 degrees. Okay? So hopefully, do that on your calculator. Practice that first. To get to the sine -1 button, you might have to use the second function button or an inverse button, something like that. But this is the button you need to have on your calculator to find an angle. All right. Now, here's our first question. Solve cos theta is equal to -0.5, where theta is between 0 and 360. This is our domain here. This is the restrictions on where our answers need to be. It has to be between 0 and 360 degrees. So the first thing on every question is I draw a little grid. And hopefully you remember, let's draw it up here, add sugar to coffee. That tells you which trig functions are positive in each quadrant. So cosine is negative. Okay, negative 0.5. The negative is all I'm looking at right now. Where is cosine negative? Well, it's positive in quadrant 4. Everything is positive in quadrant 1, so that means cosine is negative in 2 and 3. So we know that we are in quadrants 2 and 3. We actually are going to have 2 answers for this question. We are in quadrants 2 and 3. Now, second thing is you need to find the reference angle. This is going to be the same process for almost every question. So the reference angle, to do that, because we know the ratio, we do the cos to the -1. Just like up here, we did sine to the -1. We're going to do cosine to the -1, but here's the trick. You don't take the negative. You only take the number. The negative just tells you which quadrants you're in. The number, 0.5, will tell you what the angle is. In fact, it'll tell you the reference angle. And if you do that on your calculator, you should get 60 degrees. Which means, if you remember a reference angle from first lesson, it's the angle to the x-axis. So those angles are 60 degrees. So, remember, we start at 0. So we start here, we rotate to here. What is that angle that we rotate to? Well, it's going to be 180, because this is 180, minus the 60 degrees, which is going to be 120 degrees. So that angle is 120. Then we can also keep going to get there. Well, what is that angle? So that's quadrant 2. Quadrant 3, it's going to be 180 at this point, plus 60 degrees. And you will get 240. Therefore, theta is equal to 120, 240. Okay? If you do cosine of 120, you did cos of 120 on your calculator, you'll get negative 0.5. If you did cos of 240 on your calculator, you'll get negative 0.5. They give the same answer. That's why there's 2 possible answers. All right. Second one. Sine squared is equal to 0.5. Now, they give you a bit of notation here. With the 2 on the sine, that's the same as this, the whole thing squared. So really what we have here is sine of theta all squared is equal to 0.5. Now, if I give you that back in grade 11, say, said x squared is equal to 4, you would tell me x is equal to plus minus 2 because you would square root each side. We did the same thing here. We're going to square root each side. And remember, when you square root something, it's plus or minus. So the square root of sine squared is just sine. Square root of 0.5 is, what is the square root? 1/4. No, it's 1 over root 2, sorry. If you want a decimal. So it's going to be 1 over root 2, but you'll see how I know that later on. Automatically, that is 0.707. So, and it's plus minus, remember, plus minus. So we draw our little quadrant system. Remember, the signs tell you which quadrants you're in, but because we're positive and negative, you know you are in all 4 quadrants. That means we're going to have 4 answers for this one. Then you have to find the reference angle, which remember, that's when you do sine to the minus 1 of 0.707. Remember, we don't take the negative sign, it's always positive. And if you put that in your calculator, you should get 45 degrees. That is my reference angle, which means, oops, this is 45 degrees, that's 45, that's 45, that's 45. Which means my rotation angle, if we start here and we go to there, we get 45. If we keep going to there, remember that's 180, so 180 minus 45 is going to give me 135. 180 plus 45 will be 225. And if you keep going to there, well, I know this is 360 if you go all the way around, so minus 45 will be 315 degrees. So 4 possible answers. Okay. Now, what if you have cotan? Well, the process is the same. So remember, what is cotan? Cotan is 1 over tan. So this means 1 over tan is equal to root 3. Well, I don't want my trig function in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply it up there and divide off the root 3. So I get 1 over root 3 is equal to tan of x. You want it to be a primary trig function. Okay, so draw our quadrants. Where is tan positive? Add sugar to coffee. So everything's positive in the first quadrant, and tan is positive in the third quadrant. So that means we just draw a line in the first quadrant and the third quadrant. All right, find your reference angle. Well, that's going to be tan to the minus 1 of 1 over root 3, which, put that in your calculator, you should get 30 degrees, which means that is 30 degrees, and that is 30 degrees. We always start at 0. So if I rotate to there, my x will be 30 degrees. And if we keep going all the way to there, this is 180. So it's 180 plus 30 is 210. And there's your 2 angles. Okay. All right. Find angle x. All right. Secant. What is secant? Hopefully you've remembered that. secant is 1 over cosine. We always want to get rid of these reciprocal trig functions and rewrite them as primary. Again, same process, multiply that up, divide off the 1.2631. So I get 1 over negative 1.2631 is equal to cos x, where is cosine negative? Add sugar to coffee. Well, it's positive in the first and the fourth, so it's negative in those two quadrants, 3 and 4. Find your reference angle, which is do the inverse, or the cos to the minus 1 of, remember, do not take the negative, 2631. You do that, it should spit out 38 degrees, which means this angle is 38, that angle is 38. So what does x equal? Well, whatever it is to rotate to there, which is 180 minus 38, which is 142. Then to get to this one here, it's 180 plus 38, which is 218. All right. I'll do cosecant. What's cosecant? It's 1 over sine of x equals 2.45. So 1 over 2.45 is equal to sine. Right? Which quadrants am I in? Where is sine positive? Positive in the first, and it's positive in the second. Add sugar. And sugar. So we find our reference angle. Sine to the minus 1 of 1 divided by 2.45. And you should get 24 degrees or something close to that. It means this is 24, and that's 24. So our x is equal to 24. And to go all the way to there, 180 minus 24, which is 156. There's your two answers. Okay, hopefully you're seeing a pattern here. Okay, now there's a couple of tricky ones. When there's 0 and undefined. So the 0 one, we're going to do it this way right now, but when we learn the cos graphs, you'll see that this is even easier once you know the cos graphs. So cosine theta is 0, right? 0 is neither positive or negative, so we don't know which quadrants we're in. So what we do is we find the reference angle. That's going to be cos minus 1 of 0. Now, if you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 90 degrees. So that means if this is 0, this is 90. Remember, that's your reference angle. So we're right there. But where else is there a reference angle of 90 degrees? When you're down here as well. Okay? Because that's 90 and that's 90. As is that and that. Okay. So what's my rotation? Well, if I start here, to get to there, it's 90 degrees. To go all the way there is 180 plus 90, 270 degrees. All right. Okay, cosecant is undefined. So what is cosecant? Cosecant is 1 over sine of theta, and it equals undefined. What does undefined mean? It means you're dividing by 0, right? We cannot divide by 0. I don't care what's up here. Do whatever, does not matter. Some number. When you divide anything by 0, it's undefined. So for this to be undefined, sine theta has to equal 0. Okay? The other way you can think of it is you multiply sine theta up, multiply the 0 up, and you're going to get sine theta is equal to 0. Well, again, 0 is neither positive or negative, so I don't know which quadrant I'm in, but we find the reference angle. That's going to be sine to minus 1 of 0, which will spit out 0. Now, that means your reference angle is 0. Where's the reference angle of 0? Here. So add 0. And then if you go all the way around to here, which is 180. But then if you go all the way around again, it's there again because our domain is less than or equal to 360. So the three answers are theta is equal to 0 degrees, 180 degrees, or 360 degrees. All right, so process. Use the sign of the ratio to tell you which quadrants you're in based on the trig function you're dealing with. Okay, sine, cosine, tan. Again, use add sugar to do that. Then draw your lines in the quadrants you're in. Find the reference angle by using the inverse, and when you do that, never take the negative. Don't take that. Scratch it out. When you do that, it's always positive in there. That'll give you the reference angle. Write it out, and then you just figure out what rotation angle you did to get there. Okay, this is the point where I ask you to do some questions. Number 1, number 2, A and D, and number 3. And when you finish those, come back and we just have a little bit to do. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, hopefully that was okay. We are now on page, 525, bottom of page 525. And we're looking at this. It looks like this is the same question as the very first question, except our domain is in rads. Okay, which means our answer needs to be in rads. The answer needs to be in rads. It doesn't mean you have to do the whole question in rads. So my preferred method is to just do the question in degrees like we normally do and convert to rads at the end. So we're going to do both of these. So cos theta is equal to negative 0.5. Well, this is the exact same first question we did. Whereas cosine negative is negative in 2 and 3. Then we find the reference angle. The reference angle, which would be cos to the minus 1, 0.5. Remember, you don't use the negative. And that's going to give us a reference angle of 60 degrees. 60 and 60. Which means our theta is going to be 180 minus 60 is 120. Keep going, 180 plus 60 is 240. Now, that's the answer in rads, in degrees. They want the answer in rads. So, how many rads is 120? Well, the reference angle basically told you. The reference angle is 60 degrees, and hopefully you have committed to memory what the common angles are in rads. 60 degrees is pi over 3. How many 60-degree angles do we have to get to 120? 2 of them. So 120 is 2 pi over 3. That's the first answer. How many 60-degree angles to get to 240? 4 of them. 6 times 4 is 24. So it's 4 pi over 3. And that's it. If I give you a question like this and the domain is in rads, all I expect is the answer to be in rads. You can do all your work in degrees. I don't care. All right. Last one here. Cotan theta is equal to negative 5 over 4. And theta is between 0 and pi. All right. So we'll look at the domain in a sec here. It's in rads, so our answer has to be in rads. But cotan, what is cotan? It's 1 over 10. And that is equal to negative 5 over 4. I want to get the trig function off the denominator. So I'm going to multiply it up, which means I'm going to multiply the 4 up and divide off the 5. So I'm going to get -4/5 is equal to tan theta. Now, where is tan negative? Add sugar to coffee. Well, I know it's positive in 1 and 3, so that means it must be negative in 2 and 4. But look at our domain restriction. 0 to pi. What is pi? Pi is 180 degrees. Which means this one is outside of our domain because this is 180. All right? So that doesn't work. So I only have to find this one answer. Well, find the reference angle. My reference angle is going to be tan to the -1. Remember, ignore the negative of 4/5. I want nearest hundredth, so it's going to be 38.7 degrees. So if this is 38.7 degrees, my rotation theta is going to be 180 minus 38.7, which will be 141.3 degrees. So that's the answer in degrees. Say you want the answer in rads. How do you convert to radians? Anybody remember? Times by pi over 180. So if you literally go 141.3 times pi divided by 180, you should get 2.47. And remember, rads don't have any units, so the answer is just 2.47. Okay, so it's the same process as before. The only trick is if it's in rads, your answer must be in rads. And watch your domain restrictions, okay? I would like you guys to do questions number 4 and 5. That's it for this lesson. Good luck, and we'll see you on the next one.